name is Xing Yi. I'm a research analyst in Nansen, specifically for the Alpha team. So yeah, today I'll just be going through like what's the day in the life like for a research analyst. Also going a bit more about what is Nansen for those that don't know. So next slide. So what is Nansen? So Nansen is basically like a blockchain analytics platform. I would say that the selling point for our platform and how it differs from others is that we combine on-chain data with like our wallet labels, which is unique to us. So I guess as you guys know, data on the blockchain is transparent and free for all, but in its raw state, it's really hard for people to kind of like get a signal as to or like what they can do with the data. So Nansen aims to do that by having labels and dashboards that are user-friendly. So our customers can surface the signal easily. Next slide. So I think what you can do with Nansen is to find opportunities on the blockchain. So I don't know if you can see, but like that's like our smart money dashboard. So I think that's something that's unique to Nansen. Smart money is kind of like a label that we have for wallets that have proven to be profitable across their historical trade. So we have labels like DEX trader. So it means like wallets that make a lot of money from DeFi, and we also have NFTs. So you can kind of like see like the change in smart money token holdings over time. We have like the filters there. So maybe if you just wanna like see what smart money is aping into these days, then you can look at like the change, like 24 hours and stuff like that. And yeah, I think we have a repository of over like 200 million wallets. So I think there's definitely a lot of alpha in there. Yeah, next slide. Yeah. Also what you can do with Nansen is to do your due diligence and defense. So I think before investing in anything, like it will be good to kind of see like what are the holders of the token. So this is like our token God mode page, which is one of like our key products. So under token God mode, you can actually see like the top holders, token distribution on like DEXs or SEXs, the top transactions, how long addresses are holding, and also like number of addresses over time. So I think this helps to determine like whether or not the token is kind of like a pump and dump, or like people are holding it for the long term, which could be what you're looking out for in terms of when you're like holding your certain investments. So so I think this example is like GMX. If you guys are familiar with crypto, I think you know GMX has garnered a lot of attention in the past few months because of being one of the tokens that have gone up in price significantly during the bear. And like you can look at the token balances. I think it's one of the few tokens that has most of their tokens on DEXs, because right now SEXs volume still outweigh DEXs a lot. So with GMX having most of their tokens on DEXs, some could see it as like a bullish signal, given that more crypto native people are holding onto it as compared to retail. So below we have like our smart alert. So I set the parameters to like any transaction involving GMX. So like you can see here, like Uniswap send amount of GMX to like a DEX trader. So that means they are like buying GMX. And then the one below, it shows them sending tokens to the GMX contract address, which could mean like they are staking or like putting funds into GLP. So that could be like bullish, given that like people are putting their funds into the protocol. Next slide. And this is like our portfolio. Previously they were known as, if anyone knows, portfolio is that it allows you to track the wallets holding across. Currently we have around 500 plus protocols and also over 40 chains. So previously, like with wallet profile on Nansen, you can't really track what what the wallets are doing on DeFi, but with portfolio you can. So you can kind of see like this wallet is Sifu's wallet, if anyone know who that is. So yeah, most of his holdings is in Wonderland, W Memo, which is his own project. So yeah. And then portfolio is free for all. And then we also recently integrated our Nansen labels into it. So you can see on the top right, there is wallet profiler and NFT profiler. So you can also see like what this address is on Nansen for free and like what NFTs they are holding as well. Next slide. And then research. So research is one of our newest offerings for our Nansen sub. Previously, it was more focused towards alpha, which is like our highest tier of subscription. I'll go more into that later. But yeah, right now we are having research for standard and VIP users as well. And we also have freemium articles like the ones shown in the picture. I think the latest and most relevant one would be the one on collapse of FTX. I think like as most people know, FTX was pretty big. And yeah, our analyst did like an article, like it traced back to transactions all the way from 2020 using the blockchain. So I think it's pretty interesting if you guys wanna just see like how like Alameda or FTX got here, like what led to their fall and everything. And we also have quarterly reports. They are free to read. So the different chains over there, it's kind of like a quarterly update on what the chains are doing, any like transactions or anything to look out for. So yeah, you can check it out on research.nansen.ai if you're interested. Yeah, so what Alpha is, I'm a RA in Alpha. So Alpha is actually like a community essentially. Like our customers are mostly retail whales as well as funds. So in order to be a part of Alpha, they need to have a certain AUM under holdings. And what it aims to do is to kind of like bring all the what we aim to do is to surface Alpha for our customer, basically. And then we do that through like we have our dedicated CSMs. So they kind of like provide support in any way for our customers. And then we have war rooms and AMAs. So what war rooms are is basically every week we'll hold like a call and we kind of go through like what are the interesting developments in the week or any like protocols that we are looking at. So this helps to and we also like discuss about it. So it helps to like garner opinions on like a certain protocol or chain, and and sometimes there's like alpha there. And then AMA is like we get projects on to talk to our customers as well. So like previously we had Friction, Rage Trade, Open, like some of the protocols that we had recently. And then also deal flow opportunities. So this is part of the RA work as well. So what it is that we kind of like help our customers to get like whitelist opportunities, or ideally also like private rounds, like seed deals for certain protocols. So I guess networking is a part of being RAS at Alpha as well. And also research, of course. Research is like actually our main focus at the moment because of market conditions. So deals and AMAs have mostly slowed down right now. One-on-one training is just like we basically kind of attend to any of our customers' needs. Yeah. Next slide. Yeah. So the day in the life of being an RA, basically what I do every day, I mostly just scroll through Twitter, Discord, and read Substack, and that is actually like a large part of my work. Pretty fun. Also, I guess a key part is looking through the dashboard. So because I'm part of Alpha, so we have this like daily summary for our customers. So we have to look through the dashboards and kind of find like what are the key movements of the day, and we put it into a quick report for them to look through. And also in recent months, there have been a lot of Black Swan events from UST, Tracy, FTX. So we recently have gone kind of like had to spend a lot of time like looking through going deeper into the blockchain as well. So like I think recently during the FTX collapse, we had a lot of requests from like media outlets. So we had to and some of the data that they request from us is not readily available. So what we do as a RA as well is that we need to use SQL to kind of like query what we need. So yeah, it's a bit of coding, but I think yeah, and then like going deep into Etherscan and all that. And yeah, what I do daily is also just talking in Alpha we have this like Discord, that's like our community. So every day we kind of just like we have different channels for like NFTs, DeFi, and then we'll just share info about what's been going on or what we have seen that's interesting. So with like all the like participation from like our members as also the RAs, that's how we kind of like get alpha from that. And yeah, wait. Oh, I think okay. I think working at Nansen in general, because like we are a remote first company and we actually have people from over like 30 countries. I think it's like a very good experience. Given that like I get to talk to people from like different backgrounds, cultures. One thing that may be not so great for like people who are not like crypto native is that the working hours are pretty much like I think I'm also still trying to find a balance, because like I mean when things happen, like for example like FTX happen, like maybe it happens at like 1 a.m. and you just have to get on board, right? So yeah, but I think that's what makes it fun to me as well, like the unpredictability of like the job and the industry in general. And next slide. Yeah, so being like a global company is like pretty important that we get to meet up in real life as well. So what we have is like a hub. So other than Singapore, we have offices in Bangkok, London, and Lisbon. So like part of the benefits is also every year we get to work in one of these hubs for 1 month. So that's when you get the opportunity to kind of meet people from your team who are not based in your country. So you guys can just meet up there and yeah, expenses covered. And then yeah, next slide. Yeah, I think like working in crypto in general, I mean, it's been a rough few months for a lot of people. I mean, I'm quite lucky to not lose my job because I know like a lot of people who have been affected. Yeah, because the industry is so new, right? So there have been a lot of changes. I think coming up to 2021, the bull run, like a lot of retail actually got into crypto because like everything has been like up only. Yeah. Like and then up until like UST, that's when people realize like, oh shit, like you can actually lose money. And yeah, I think since like the crash, next slide. Yeah, I think like since the start of the UST crash, like you can kind of see on like our dashboards. Yeah, that's when in May, that's when UST depegged. And then we also did like a report on the depeg, which you can read on our website. It's free. Yeah. And like UST was the first big thing, right? But that was not the end of it, because it actually led to next slide. Yeah, like contagion. So actually for Stake ETH, I think in June when 3AC collapsed, like Stake ETH was like the main thing, like one of the main losses that they had. But the imbalance actually started in the curve pool actually started since the UST depeg, because Stake, a lot of people like wrapped their Stake ETH and sent it to Terra and put it in Anchor. So when everything like fell apart, like people started withdrawing, everything caused the imbalance. So I mean, you can see like it was always like pretty like the line was pretty even for stick ETH and ETH, but since the UST depeg, like the balance never really recovered from there. And yeah, and eventually next slide. Yeah, you can see like this is like the largest token transactions for stick ETH, and most of them actually happened during the UST depeg. So all of the entities highlighted here, they are all gone now. 3AC, Hodonot, Celsius, and Alameda. So you can see like contagion is a very big thing. And I think even now, like might still see more contagion, like no one will ever know. And yeah, next slide. Yeah. Yeah, you can see like all these entities. I think with FTX, it was like super like the way that it happened was pretty unprecedented, and I mean a lot of people got affected, and like because of that, like a lot of companies have fallen as well. And even Genesis, who have been thought to be like a like was one of the biggest lenders in crypto, right? Even they have been affected. I think it just goes to show that how even though it's like Web3 is supposed to be decentralized, there's still a lot of things underneath that we don't really know, like especially because all these centralized entities are so big and they can actually cause like a huge effect when on the market when they fall. Yeah, next slide. So I think what we can learn from all these events is that when you look back on the event itself, like the on-chain data will really tell you, yeah, it doesn't lie. Like it will tell you that like for example, for the FTX one, when in our report we actually uncovered that Alameda and FTX and Genesis have very close relations and actually manipulated like a large amount of FTT. And yeah, and all three companies are gone now. And yeah, the blockchain is like public, but it's anonymous. Like you can't really get much from like a wallet address without knowing who owns it or like what is it related to. So that's why labeling is what we do at Nansen, and we think that is important in helping masses to understand as well. Contagion is real. I mean, in the industry is still very new and like people are still navigating through it. So yeah, always do risk management. Not your keys, not your coins. Yeah, after all that's happened with like centralized institution, I think self-custody is the main thing that we have learned. And also the fact that we need more transparency. I think maybe one good thing that occurred from the FTX saga is that people kind of like request more from centralized institutions now. Like we had like the proof of reserves things for Sexes, and yeah, like hopefully this like marks like a new beginning for like any centralized institution that wants to come into crypto. Yeah, next slide. Yeah, so what's next? I think one thing that's been happening is that the crash so far has not been like the previous crashes whereby activity was really dead. I mean, back in like 2017 or 18 when there was really no activity at all. But I think right now we still see a lot of people like doing stuff on chain. Recently, optimism has been gaining a lot of traction. Actually, if you combine optimism transactions and Arbitrum transactions, they are processing more transactions than Ethereum daily at the moment. And yeah, I think that's a good sign of like growth, like continuous growth, even despite like prices have gone down a lot. It shows that people still have interest or are using the products, which demonstrates like use case. Next. And yeah, also we have this like stable coin indicator. So as you can see at the end, stable coin holdings have been going down since around November. So it shows that people are kind of like getting back into the market, which is a good sign. Yeah, next slide. Yeah, I guess for those who are like getting started in crypto, I think having Twitter and Discord is like Twitter and Discord will be like a best friend in crypto. I think it's almost impossible to not have Twitter if you are trying to get into crypto. And also if you are new, I would really recommend all these resources. You can just drop me a message if you want me to send them the link, send you the link. Yeah. I think that's all for today. Yeah, feel free to reach out on Telegram or Twitter, and that's my handle. Thank you. If anyone has any question? Hi.
Hi. That's why you mentioned SQL as one of the things that you use for like being a research analyst. Is there any other important technical skills that you say like this?
Okay. Actually, when I started my role, okay, I was an intern. Back then, I was an intern, and they didn't have like a requirement to be technical. But I think like as like all these events happens, they realize that SQL is a pretty important tool for analysts as well. So right now, I think it's mostly just SQL. Like, we also have RAs that are more technical. They do Python because they need to build dashboards. But for my role, so actually RA is like a broad term, but we have a lot of different RAs in different teams. So we have RAs in engineering as well. But for me, like in Alpha, our main focus is like research, community. So just knowing like basic SQL, like manipulating, writing some queries would be enough. But I would say that being more technical is of course good, because I mean, after all, we are a data company.
Kind of, yeah. So because I'm quite interested, I also want to like get into it. So like the SQL is used to get data from on-chain, is it?
Yeah. So okay, basically we also have query. It's not a live product yet, but I mean we need to get access to it. So basically we have like a data warehouse. We use BigQuery. So I mean the dashboards that we have on Nansen is like very curated. So not everything is on there. So like sometimes, like for example, for like the the UST one, like I did the report on it. So if you are like our user, you will know that we don't really have coverage on Terra, but then we actually have the data in our data warehouse. So for that, we had to like query, like pull the data from like basically like Terra transactions and all that. So yeah, what you see on the dashboard is actually quite pretty small as compared to all the data that we have. Yeah. Oh, forgot to mention that we are actually looking to open intern positions, but I'm just not very sure when. So if you're interested, you can just drop me a text and we can like keep in touch. And I'll let you guys know if the position opens up. Yeah. Yeah.
You mentioned like using Discord and Twitter a lot, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just wanted to know, like, as a research analyst, how do you drown out like the noise? Like, there's gonna be like a lot of like user shit, right? Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a very good question. I think okay, I guess like background, like I also started out like trading like those NFTs. So it's like a lot of like shit coins and all that. So yeah, I agree that there's a lot of noise. And on Twitter, like I mean you see someone like saying like, oh, this coin is good, like should buy it, blah blah blah, and they state like reasons, right? But most of the times people are just shilling their bags. So I think it's very important to have like I mean it's good to read up more on Twitter to get references, but eventually you need to have like your own framework of thinking. Like you can't trust anything that you see. Yeah, so I think it comes with time, like over time, like you get a framework of what works and what don't work. And over time you kind of refine it as well. And I think when you invest in a token personally, it becomes more like you will naturally like do more DD. I mean, because like, it's like a position that you have. So I think being a part of is being an RA also is like getting your hands into it, because I think it's very hard for you to kind of like stay interested or even stay updated if you don't invest it in yourself personally. Yeah.
What are the similarities and differences of your role and maybe like a business analyst?
So business analyst in like a traditional company.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not very sure what do business analysts do in traditional companies, but I guess I imagine in TradeFi, like most of the analysts they provide. I mean, I'm not super sure, but I think that they provide like. They do a lot like valuation. They do PE or something like that. But I think for like because crypto doesn't really have those like metrics. Like honestly, most like price movement is dependent on like sentiment. You can say like a protocol has very good like fundamentals or the tokenomics are good, but if no one talks about it, like it will never it will never go up in price. I think I would say the difference is that for business analysts, maybe they have like a fixed framework to go by. Like in TradeFi is like the metrics are always there, but in crypto is always it's always changing. Like one moment, like cause it's so narrative driven that you can't like stick to one thing. Yeah, like one moment is like people are like Elon Musk tweets something related to Doge and it pumps, and you can't really like predict that as well. But I think in terms of what you can predict is like looking at like yeah, I guess on-chain data kind of helps in a way to kind of see like what the whales are doing. Like so I know of people who specifically follow like fund wallets or influencers, and they've been pretty profitable at trading. But I think yeah, it's just need to find something that works for you. Yeah. Yeah.
What's your favorite NFT collection?
Oh, good question. I actually haven't traded NFTs in a while because it's quite hard to be. It's quite illiquid nowadays, I feel. But I guess recently it will be Pudgy Penguins. Yeah. But not financial advice because he has pumped quite a bit, so don't be exit liquidity. Yeah. Yeah.
What do you then consider as like a sustainable project? Like by what metric would you consider a sustainable in the long term?
Yeah, good question. I think in general the industry is so new that like even the oldest protocols are maybe like 2 to 3 years old. But I think based on what we see now, like I mean when it comes to DeFi, you'll probably think of like Uniswap, Aave. So I think these protocols are protocols that actually make money. Like they like if you look at their emissions versus revenue, like they're actually in profit, which is somehow pretty rare to find in other protocols. So I think right now I would say that my definition is that definitely revenue more than emissions, because I mean in DeFi, a lot of the times we see volume in a certain protocol, but it never stays because like people always like the protocol will give out like their own token as like incentives. So it's a lot of mercenary capital, like people go in and leave quickly. So yeah, I would say like continuous revenue over emissions would be what I define as something sustainable. Yeah. Yeah.
Like in your personal opinion, right? Like what do you think is like the next trend in crypto, like or like blockchain or like for example, like it was DeFi a few years back, and then it became NFTs, and like now.
Good question. Again, not financial advice, but I think right now, I guess 2023, people are still. I mean, I feel like there are a lot of narratives out there, but it will it's like very heavily dependent on whether like the markets come back as well. Because I mean, right now, crypto is still highly related to like stocks, and I don't think they will decouple, like not in the next few years. So, yeah, it's actually dependent on like what the US does, and like, yeah, basically traditional markets. But I think if I were to say like a sector that maybe, I mean, yeah, the larger sectors like DeFi and NFTs have seen like their bull cycle. GameFi, I personally don't really believe in GameFi yet, because I think valuations are way too high, and I think we can see with like XC or like DeFi Kingdoms, like right now there's still, or even StepN, like there's no model that makes it kind of like there's no model that is still sustainable yet, because like to attract people they just use emissions incentives, and if like a game doesn't do that, it's unable to attract like investors. And I think when monetary stuff is tied to a game, it will just never work out. Yeah. But okay, wait, sorry, deviating from the question. I think I would say narratives. I think there's a lot of talk of like modular blockchains recently. But I think the recent one, like Mental by BitDAO, I think they recently launched their testnet. Pretty interesting because they use like Aven layer. You know, maybe a bit too deep into it, but yeah, we can like chat about this if you want. Yeah, basically I think like the new techs like ZK, modular blockchains, app chains like DYDX moving to their own chain, Synapse as well. I think just because like simply because those are like tech that is new, that's why it's like the narratives. So yeah, I don't think I feel like DeFi options could be pretty big as well, but that would depend a lot on market conditions. Because if there's no volatility, then there's no like product market fit. Yeah.
Is the information is public when you label the address and the person?
Like public as in like,
Is that public?
like, do you mean like whether it's public on Nansen or like?
For everyone?
I mean, yeah, our labels are not exactly public because I mean that's like our selling point, right? Because we actually have a team of like we call it like attributors. So they work to like label all these blockchain addresses. Yeah, that's their job specifically. So yeah, I can't really say how they do it, but it's not it's not really public because I mean only our users get to see it. But even then, we don't like publish the reasons as to why we label it a certain way. It's just to protect our product. Yeah.
Another question is that if the information is not public, then will your customer or the address owner feel not comfortable when you know the address belongs to them, and it feel dangerous when they make some investment, like everyone will know, or maybe you know they make any investment, so you can follow them or do something else.
Yeah, that's a very good question. Because like we label a lot of fund addresses, but the thing with funds is that they can easily create like new ones. So I think one fund that like I've like tried and seen is like Alameda. I mean now they're dead, but just using as an example. Alameda, if you look at their main wallets, there's actually no activity, but everything goes on like in new wallets. So almost every time like when I see something related to Alameda, like the funds come in from like a new wallet, which makes it super hard to track because yeah, like there's like millions of wallets out there and everything is just like random numbers that you can't really like draw any connection to it. So yeah, I agree. As in I think that people have also like voiced their concerns before, like saying that if these people know that their wallets are already being tracked, they could like just create new wallets, or they could do something like buy a random coin and then like people follow their footsteps, but it's actually like I don't know, like a scam or something like that. But yeah, so I guess how we kind of like mitigate this is that we have yeah, I mean, we constantly label new wallets every day, and also anything that's of like a certain value, like we pick it up quite fast because we have dashboards to do that. And yeah, I mean, we can't really control what funds or like whales do, but what we do is like we try our best to kind of like make sure that we are up to date with everything. Yeah.
There's a question from the Zoom chat. Do you have any advice on how to prepare for an interview with Nansen?
Okay. I think when I started out, I was an intern, so the requirements weren't, I would say it wasn't as high, but I think for the RA role, like the application itself, it will require you to like do like a investment memo. So it's kind of like just talking about like a token maybe that you have invested in, or like a token that you think is interesting, or like, yeah, it's kind of like to see whether you have like the framework, like how you think about like protocols or projects and how you evaluate, because that's pretty important in what we do. Other than that, I think general crypto knowledge, I think as long as you show that you have skin in the game, I think it's a pretty important trait that you look out for, because yeah, everything goes on so fast that you won't really have time to catch up. But I mean, not saying it's impossible, but yeah, having passion or like skin in the game is important. I think for interviews, I would say we are pretty chill. Like, I think our company is still relatively, I would say, like small. So yeah, we are pretty chill with like hiring and stuff. Like, just be yourself. I don't know what the advice I can give. But I mean, if anything, you can just Telegram me or Twitter DM me. Yeah, can share more when I think about the question. Yeah.
One question, you don't get paid in crypto, like or like
I get paid in cash, but we have the option to get paid in crypto. It's either USDC, USDT, or ETH.
It's like elaborate more about the framework that when you analyze the token.
Okay. Okay. I think for me, like tokens, I don't really believe in like TA and stuff like that, because I think the industry is still too like narrative driven to do any TA. But I guess framework, the most important thing is for me is to look at emissions, because emissions is one important factor that is probably the factor that drives most like token prices down. I mean, okay, everything is not about price, but like for like our customers, I mean, we obviously want to help them like make money. So like tokenomics, looking at emissions, vesting schedules, also looking at their investors. So I mean, maybe for like certain investors, they are like not as well known, like, or certain investors, they are known to like pump and dump, like things like that. I think like for one example, it would be like Alameda again, because like they were heavily involved in like the Solana ecosystem. So they invest a lot in that, and most of the ecosystem tokens are just like manipulated by them. So we want to avoid that, like investing in those kind of tokens. And I think at the start, it will also be looking at the product market fit of the protocol itself, because like, I mean, with GMX, we see it gaining traction like so quickly is because of what they're known for is real yield, right? And it really found product market fit in the bear market, because like people are just want to earn yield and like be somewhat safe, like opt for less risk, and GMX was something that offered that. So I think looking at the context and whether the protocol can see like adoption and stuff like that. Yeah.
When you treat yourself
why is the percentage you rely on the on-chain data?
Good question. I would say like maybe for older projects, I mean for newer projects, the on-chain data might be quite skewed because at the start, like everyone is like hauling into the token, so it's not really representative of like the true like holders or like stuff like that. But I think for on-chain data, what I normally look at is the top holders because like so under like token god mode, we have this like you can see like who owns like the largest part of each coin, like circulating supply, stuff like that. I think like how do I say? Like sometimes like when you're in the like sometimes you'll just know that certain wallets, they are like known to like dump on you. Like yeah, I think it just comes with experience. Like when you're in it, you will kind of figure it out. So look out for those wallets. And also what else I look at is like the percentage of like the amount of tokens on Sexes indexes. I think it's pretty important to me because on Sexes you can't see like what they are doing like behind the scenes. Like I mean with FTX, we know that there's a lot of manipulation of FTT behind the scenes, but you can't really see this on-chain data. Like that's the limitation of like having like centralized institutions. So like for example GMX just now, like a large amount of their coins are on DEXs. So I will be more like confident in a way to kind of like trade because I know that I can always rely on on-chain data to see like a clear picture of the token. But as for like maybe like tokens who have a lot of like supply on Sexes, I will never know what's going on behind the scenes. And also they also tend to like be like heavily affected by perps. So yeah, there's just an added layer of like it's like hard to determine whether or not like the token will do well even with on-chain data. Yeah. Okay.
No, I have other questions, then
Oh.
we can close the session.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, feel free to reach out on Twitter or Telegram. Yeah, I'll be happy to chat with anything like career related or just or crypto related. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, the white one.